welcome back. I'm with Erin. We're back at Erin's home. We had designed a special space she had provided, and the space got a little bigger, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Well,
everything kind of grew over there. That's what projects do, right?
Yeah, that's how things
But the area
take
that
shape.
we're still planting is still basically the same area that we originally talked about. So.
And the key is when we lay the plants out, we'll move things around, do some field adjustments, and that way, as we field adjust it, Erin can tie it into new plantings she's going to put in the bed, so we continue relationships.
Exactly.
So that'll be the good part.
Good. I'm so happy to have you here, Roy. Thank you for coming again. And this is the
glad
fun.
to be
we're
here.
to the really fun part now, so I'm really excited about today.
We're glad to be back. This is fun too.
Good.
Thanks.
How do our measurements work out there, more or less? Okay?
We're a little shorter,
Okay.
but I thought we could maybe carry this. If I have more salvia, we carry that and go this way. And
Great.
cross the
Yeah.
path with it.
Fabulous.
So we can
Great.
just fudge that in.
We had a tree stump in here that we had removed, and I said, take all the wood chips with you. And of course they didn't. And so we were digging out wood chips, and half of them sort of spewed this way. We were digging out wood chips for days. It's the easiest eraser ever, right?
Oh yeah, I do this. It's just, then you measure back like in. The hardest one was Pete's in Detroit. He did uneven geometric figures.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, see this, I just look, okay, we're putting panicums there. I need more space.
Yeah.
The Molinia'S can slide this way.
Yeah.
So okay, we can do
Right.
it. But with his little things.
Yeah, that was a very complicated, I studied that plan a little bit. That was a very complicated plan. Look at that. Sure enough.
Yeah, we're just
It
a little
works.
smaller. These
It
are a little
works.
smaller.
There we go.
Could take. Oh, we'll see. As the other thing you do is how can we stretch the patterns if you go, because we have that Stachys could come across here, and then in here they'll take this light, but actually they'll bloom more in that.
Sure. Great. Oh, that's neat. Well, I will tell you that's really helpful to see, because this is something I have struggled with in the past, is translating the design on paper to the ground, and I always adjust it, and I have no problem with that, but I get there and it just turns into a completely different thing. So this works.
Well, it'll give you a starting point, because when we lay this out, we'll change it. We might take a few Stachys and go this way with a couple of them into the Sporobolus, and then, or we may not, or put a Salvia this way or a Sporobolus in here. So it's just the mood that it's where these lines blend. What's the best blending direction? Is the Stachys here? Oh no, maybe there's too many of the spike and the spike.
Right.
It's better to have that spike at a later time. Keep this more salvias with the grasses. It looks better.
Right.
So this combination might look better without disrupting it that way. But then it doesn't mean you can't put a grass right there. That'll carry the Stachys without disruption. It's a texture.
Right.
So then I'd rather texture this and not disrupt it with another spike over here. That's out of sync with these spikes. And that's always the hardest, the most focused part is where two worlds collide. It's always a war. Wherever two worlds are colliding, how do you blend them? And maybe a distinct change is good. Have a block and distinction helps, but it's just how you feel. You'll know emotionally if that's good.
Yeah.
And then it might not be emotional till next year when you see a mature, oh my God. Why did I put that? So I should blend. Yeah. Well, we've laid out the beds. What I actually did, I took the patterns that we came up with and I spray painted the patterns on the bed, and I just kind of measure off the plan, put a mark 5 feet in, 5 feet over here. Then I tied it together with a line and kind of curved it. So I went through and put the whole plan on the ground. And I learned this technique when I did Lurie Garden in Millennium Park. I translated Pete's design onto the ground simply by pacing and using a little ruler to measure Pete's plan on the paper. And I paced it off. And I was only off on some areas, maybe 2 feet to 3 feet. And then we just stretched it back into the design. Because when you do this, if you're off a few inches, it's okay. It's not like the plants are going to collapse on people and kill them. It all works out. And then we have field adjustments too. So everything's very fluid.
Yeah.
It's a very fluid process.
It's very neat to see this translated to the ground, and it looks very much, I mean, I'm looking down at these lines and I'm seeing exactly what's on this piece of paper here. And so it's very good to see that process, because as I was telling you before, this is a spot where I get stuck as a home gardener, you know, trying out my own personal designs. Translating it from the paper to the ground without some sort of grid system like this gets really challenging. So this is great, and that's an easy way to do it, by just pacing it out and using a ruler.
Well, it can be, because you feel you have to be precise.
Right.
And the idea, I think, from growing plants for so many years, I didn't feel the need to be precise, because I knew I could screw up. You know, when you have a freedom to make mistakes and it all works out, you're just you're looser with the garden.
Yeah.
And that way, I think that's when the landscape design team saw that this is working out. We don't have to put strings.
Yeah.
And some people still do.
Yeah.
They'll put strings up and down the whole process. And then we have some pushing, because it wasn't actually the size of the plan. And that's okay. We had the Coreopsis with the panicum.
Yep.
I'm going to drift a Coreopsis into the Molinia with the white Echinacea. So
Okay.
we'll create some intermingling overlap.
Oh, nice. And what are we 15 inches on center? That's roughly what you think?
Yeah, I think 15
for
inches.
starters.
Some of the grasses I'll put 18 inches.
Okay.
Like the panicums, but they'll be roughly 15.
Okay.
15 to 18. So it'll knit together tightly.
Okay.
And then as it knits together tightly, there might be some thinning you do.
Okay.
When you see maybe the Coreopsis is a little slower than Molinia. Or maybe they're working out fine. But you'll see one is maybe a little tighter and you can loose up. And we do that just by shaving a piece off and letting a little more, taking up a third of it off and letting the other plant have more opportunity.
Okay.
So it's not a lot of work. It's less work by packing them closer together and letting them grow into each other than it is by too far apart and waiting.
Yeah.
And then if they never touch, you're weeding
forever.
Ever. Yeah. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a few white coneflowers in with the panicums, with the Coreopsis.
Oh, nice.
We'll mingle them together, and the majority of them will be in here.
Oh, great.
While we're doing this,
Yep.
I was mentioning at Northwood we're opening our garden bar. I thought I'd share that again. So May 21st we're creating the Northwind Garden Bar, and it's kind of belly up to new things at Northwind.
Oh, I love
So we're
it.
going to have, it's kind of taking a bar theme.
Yeah.
And our first thing at Northwind is going to be the Northwind perennial plant patterns.
Okay.
And they're just small patterns, 3x3 or
Exactly
4x4.
what we've sort of been working on here.
Kind of to do this, where we give people we give them a nice start.
Right.
To a social system of plants living together. And in time, they'll watch the plants live together, and the plants will understand how they're cared for and loved by the people that own the patterns, and both the plants and people grow into each other
Yeah.
in a healthy way. And then they change it when they know why they want to put something in.
Right. So when you draw these lines, these are rough concepts, and then you push it beyond there, because otherwise you don't really, you know, it's not like you just have it. You don't have to color within the lines here, I guess is what we're saying.
Starting point.
Yeah.
You get the thinking and the transfer of their plan to the ground.
Yeah.
And then you have the plants with you, and then that's where you start to mingle, one overlapping the other.
Right.
And I mentioned, like, we have 2 spikes here, Salvia and Stachys. Well, the Stachys bloom later, and the Salvia is a looser spike. So I'd rather have the soft textured grass mingle into the Stachys than put a Salvia in that's looser and maybe has a conflict with the Stachys. And that's just something you feel.
Yeah.
Because I've done it and I know how bad it looks. So once I've done it and I know how bad it looks,
Right.
I know I'm not going to do that again.
Right.
And I
Right.
want more softer texture
Right.
than I do combative textures
Right.
or combative look.
Yeah.
So that's and that's why it just is fun.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no pressure.
Right.
If you screw up, you dig it out and move it.
Right.
It's not like, oh my God, am I
It's not
going
there
to jail?
forever.
What's going to happen to me? Yeah, it's just
The plant police
joyful.
are not coming.
Right.
Right. Good. Okay, great.
That's a good way to put it.
Now these guys go in here too, right? This is the
Well, we'll fill that with Stachys. We'll have
Okay.
one grass carry over
Okay.
into this.
okay.
And what we'll
Great.
do first, we'll lay out the
Got it. Okay.
salvias
Perfect.
first and put the grasses around the salvia.
Ah, right. Got it.
And then we might move the salvias around a little
Got
more
it.
too.
Okay, so start with the plants and then move those grasses around.
Yeah, the
them.
grasses
Got
are
it.
the grasses are like our filler.
Right. Okay.
Or a way to carry a texture.
Right.
over
Got
to
it. Our background, basically. Okay. Good. Great. Now tell me again about that Coreopsis.
Well, this is golden showers.
Okay.
It's Coreopsis verticillata.
Okay.
And it's just a species, and it was selected. It has a little bigger flower than the species. It's
Okay.
an Eastern native. And it was just named golden showers, a more market name
Yeah.
to promote sales.
Yeah.
And it spreads, you can see it spreads in the pot by short runners. Let's take one out. Because the runners are beautiful. When they turn, they have a golden,
Oh yeah. Look
they're
at
kind
that.
of golden yellow.
Sure.
They get more yellow as they
Sure.
age. But it's not an aggressive runner.
Okay.
It goes about 2 inches, stops 2 inches.
Oh,
It
right,
doesn't
okay.
open up as much.
Sure.
And eventually it opens up, and you can put little China doxa or small narcissus in between them.
Oh, nice.
And they'll flower as you get this nice foliage coming
Oh,
up.
pretty.
And then they go dormant. Yeah, it's
Right.
a great plant to interplant with.
Good.
But it really doesn't overwhelm anybody.
And then how big does it get roughly?
it gets around, this one will be about 30 inches
Okay.
tall,
Nice.
maybe 34.
Yeah. Okay.
And when it blooms, it's very dense.
Yeah.
And the flowers, when they fade, the seed heads look like rusty nails. So you get this very textural foliage covered in rusty nails with moments of flowers still occurring.
Oh, neat.
It's a cool plant.
Oh, that's
it's
really
a very
cool.
cool plant because it's something, and you don't notice that until you take a quiet night and just walk around.
Yeah.
Because people in a hurry will never see that.
Sure.
But when you're say you have a glass of wine and you're walking
Yeah.
around just looking,
Yeah.
you'll stare at that and say,
Yeah.
wow, look at the rusty nails,
Yeah.
or whatever you identified as.
Right.
But it's hard to see it if you're in a hurry.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes I don't see things in May,
Right.
but I see much more in the winter or fall.
Yeah.
Because it's not as hectic. So I really like the plant.
Neat.
And you'd have to make the effort to kill it.
Well, that's helpful too, right?
It lives through
Right.
a lot of chaos.
Make an effort to kill it. I like it.
So this is where you might, because we're putting gallons with plugs. This is where you might have to thin these so they'll take till the plugs can catch up.
Sure.
Because the plug, yeah, that'll be. You just watch it and you'll see. You'll say, okay, you guys are getting way out of here.
Right. Okay.
Because they're closer to adulthood.
Okay.
And all you do is you can just prune a piece off just so
Okay.
the grass can keep getting light.
Okay.
Because eventually, Sporobolus airoides, that'll be in bloom when these blooms in June with a cloud-like flower. And then it reblooms in September because it's confused.
We're sure.
Because it's native to Utah.
Right.
So it doesn't know why is this growing season going so long here. Yeah, if you want to just fill this in, we'll
Okay.
put them kind of tight too.
Okay.
And I'll go get the, I think I need a few more Molinia.
Okay.
I'll fill that in.
Okay. Right. These are going throughout this whole section here, right?
All any holes you see.
Yep. Okay.
We'll
Great.
fill that in, and that'll be the geranium.
Okay.
This is, I brought Heiliger.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is an older selection
Oh,
from
nice.
Pagels in Germany.
Oh, cool.
So it's vertical, blue foliage,
Yeah.
bluish green,
Oh, nice.
but the foliage turns red in September.
Oh.
The streaks of tips of the foliage turn
Oh,
red.
and that one's called, can you tell me the name of that again?
Heiliger.
Heiliger. Okay. Got it.
But if a German heard me pronounce that, they
You
would
were-
say, "Geez, Roy, come on."
Right.
I'm sure it's pronounced differently
I'm
in
sure.
German.
I'm sure.
Heiliger. Well, we found the plant pretty much. We started with the Stachys in the corner, softened it with the Sporobolus airoides that we have in the bed with the Salvia Wesuwe, and we put in the two white. I think the two white ones are one here and one over there to mix in with the Wesuwe, and the Echinacea alba with the Molinia'Transparent Heidebraut, and we mixed in a few Coreopsis that came mostly in the bed with was in the bed with the Panicum Heiliger. Heiliger was a substitute. It's a vertical panicum with blue foliage, bluish tinted foliage, and red, turns a little coppery red in late August.
Beautiful.
It's a nice grass.
Beautiful.
And it was hybridized, I mentioned before, by Ernst Pagels in Germany back in the 60s. It was a nice selection.
Yeah.
He made with a lot of other selections.
Yeah.
And then what I tweaked a little bit was our drop into the stream. I brought two Molinia'Transparent, and that'll be tall and kind of loose, look like a fountain.
Sort of airy, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be an airier look.
Yeah.
And some vertical behind that is Veronicastrum virginianum
Great.
with vertical white. And a selection I made at Northwind, it's called Sanguisorba officinalis. I just named it upright.
I love
Because
it.
it's upright, has an upright growth habit.
Yep.
And we'll see how it does here. With some Nepeta subsessilis, that's the blue one, the species. Down low, it's a Nepeta that grows along streams and creeks. It takes slightly moist to average soil.
Perfect.
It's easy to grow.
Yeah, perfect.
And a Molini'a with that, and then the Panicum Heiliger behind that. So that gives you a tall transition down into the creek bottom. And then over there, we stuck with the Deschampsia, Goldtau, which will be short, nice clouds of kind of white-brown flowers.
Beautiful.
And blue lobelias coming through that, Lobelia syphilitica. And the Lobelia syphilitica seeds. But I mentioned before, it doesn't seed uphill.
Right.
So it'll seed along your creek. You'll
Right.
find it coming up, and where you like it.
That'll be
leave it.
beautiful, yeah.
I think it'll look pretty good.
Great.
And then we mingled the alliums together, Shorty and Summer Beauty. And then you spotted them into the crystal blue, didn't you?
Yep, kind of.
So they kind of
Ran
bled
them in
into
there.
the crystal blue. And then in the crystal blue, we bled in, this is a mouthful, Goniolium tetericum.
That
which-
is a mouthful.
Yeah. It's a sea lavender,
Okay.
but it has larger clusters of flowers.
Okay.
Like a very nice bouquet of blue.
Oh, I can't wait to see
And
that. That'll
I
be
think
fun.
that'll look good with
That'll be
the-
really fun.
With the crystal blue.
Great.
It should come up just above the crystal blue
Good.
flowers are within it, so it'll be like a nice bouquet.
Wonderful. Good. Well, this is exciting. It's so neat to see it all here. I mean,
It's like seeing a room full of children. In a way. Who's going to do what?
right,
Who's
right.
going to grow up to be the lawyer and the doctor and the food service person? But it is kind of exciting, I think.
No, it's great. This is really neat, and it was very enjoyable watching you, sort of how you were positioning things and move things around, and then standing back and looking, and then readjusting, and just getting a feel for what goes where.
Well, it's like we talked about in the winter. It's all about growth rate and growth habit.
Yeah.
And that was all thought out by our discussion, and then working on the plan.
Yeah.
How those growth, then you kind of fine tune it when
Right.
you're out here, but you know you got the good growth rate and growth habits
Right.
working together so the plants grow into each other successfully.
Right.
And then you'll see things you'll move.
Yeah.
It'll be an emotional move,
Right.
and that's more aesthetics. Your eye is going to say, I need this a little taller back here.
Yep.
And you can't help yourself.
Right.
I do that all the time too. I
Right.
move something
Right.
here.
Well, that's, as you always say, that's the gardening part,
That's
right?
correct. That's gardening. Yeah,
Yep.
That's true. I'm glad you mentioned that because people think oh, I got to move this now.
Right.
How come it can't stay there?
Right.
Well,
and I think people are afraid to move things. You know, they think
Yeah.
for some whatever reason they feel like it's been cemented in that spot, and if it's not working,
Right.
you just move it.
No, that's very true.
Plants
People,
are very forgiving about moving.
Well,
Generally,
it's like
you know?
getting a massage. You take
Yeah.
them out, you rub the roots.
Yeah.
You put them back in, you cut them back.
Yeah.
It's like a new
Yeah.
breath of life for them.
Perfect. Good. This is really exciting. Love what I can't wait till we're gonna get these in the ground, but it looks so good like this, and I mean it's just really it's fun to
Well,
see
I'm
this
anxious to see
like this.
myself. I always wonder, is this going to work? Even though that's like
You
when
know
I-
it's gonna work, but you never
when I
really know
sow
it's gonna work,
seeds,
right? Yeah.
41 years of sowing seeds.
Yeah.
Are these going to live?
Yeah.
And they come up and we transplant
Right.
every year. It's just like,
Right.
I think it's my form of seeing magic in the world.
Right.
It's not winning the lottery. I mean, that would be magical, but
Yeah.
1 out of 10 million people ever do it.
Right.
But every person I know can sow seeds and create magic in their own life.
That's
It's
great.
just so simple.
That is simple,
It's
and I
very
love that.
beautiful.
I love that message. That's fabulous. Good. Well, great. That was fun. So this is
Oh, Erin, this was too good.
it was
I
too
had a
good.
great time in your place. It's stunning. I
Oh.
love it. I love it.
Thanks.
This is a Molinia'Transparent, and this is a native plant that grows along woodland edges. It gets around 30 inches tall. Has beautiful white flowers in June, red stems, and the seed pods turn red. And it's got gorgeous foliage. It's a fine cut foliage that gets a little thicker. Foliage gets more entire as it matures. So I thought this woodland edge area would be perfect. It might be a little too shady here. And the sweet woodruff will just grow around it as a beautiful ground cover. And the Molinia has the energy to push right through the sweet woodruff. So it's a nice combination.